So I was actually expecting to do this tomorrow, but for some reason it came in on Monday instead of on Tuesday. Don't care. Gosh, I haven't done an unboxing in months now, so I suddenly feel like I don't know what to say. Guess that means this will be a quick one. Hooray! I suppose at some point I should address my most recent video, the other one that lasted only about half a minute, if that. But I'm totally not going to, because I've got technical difficulties I'm sorting out right now. I was not going to miss my opportunity on this one. I think it's kind of nice that I recently finished watching the complete DVD series of Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. It prepared me nicely for this. Not that I really needed any preparation, because ooh, nice box. Not that I really needed any preparation for it, but wow, these are small. You want to know the irony of this situation? I totally didn't think of this until just now. Even though these are the legacy versions, these are the 95 movies helmets. Power Rangers the movie. Power Rangers the movie. This, and also this, are also technically the movie versions of the Deluxe Ninja Megazord and Falcon Ninja Zord. What was the difference between the movie versions and the TV versions? Literally the only difference was the packaging, was the box. And I think the instructions also said the movie. I think that was the only difference between them. The toys themselves were perfectly identical between the movie versions and the TV series versions. So if you get one or the other, I mean, really, it just comes down to which version of the box do you want to get. That's really all it boiled down to. I just noticed this. Wow, the yellowing is real. You can tell it's set in a Essential because this is a bit, I mean, these were always gray. There is no white except for the head. You can tell the yellow over here versus the yellow over here, so again, you can really, really see the difference in the yellow on this. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of leaving this out in the sun for too long, too many years in the sun. So, that's, kids, listen to your parents when they say don't leave your toys out in the sun. That happens. A giant egg is unearthed in Angel Grove. Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa investigate the egg and release the creature inside, Ivan Ooze, who Zordon had trapped inside the egg for 6,000 years. Had trapped inside the egg 6,000 years ago. They intend to use him to destroy Zordon. Ooze attacks the command center, but double-crosses Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa, which is actually unusual for monsters in MMPR, I'd like to point out, taking over their base and setting out to take over the world. With the command center in shambles and Zordon dying, the powerless Rangers travel to a distant planet and meet Dulcia, an alien who doesn't really look like an alien, who bestows the power of the Ninjetti. Whatever Ninjetti is, they never describe it. Now Power Rangers once more, the superheroes must head back to Earth to defeat Ooze and save Zordon. And then it repeats in French, and then in Spanish. Yeah. I have the original movie boxes, but I don't remember what they look like other than, you know, the front here, so. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Don't fall over. I'll say it before, or I've said it before, I'll say it again. I enjoyed the 95 movie. It was not perfect, but I did enjoy it. For a first movie outing, it was not bad. I'm hoping that the new 2017 movie works out well. Wow, I cannot talk today, so forgive me if I choke on my words. Like that's been happening all day. I don't know. It's just an off day for me. I have the Legacy MMPR Season 1 Megazord and Dragonzord. They're okay. They tried to do some things that, they tried to liven things up a bit, but at the same time, this is Bandai America we're talking about, so some things worked, some things didn't. I wanted to get the deluxe Thunder Megazord. I have it. Let's see, what state is it in? Oh, it's the Thunderzord's or Thunder Megazord sled mode right now. So, yeah. Honestly, I'd had kind of a falling out with the Thunder Megazord in the last decade or so. Like, I just kind of didn't like it very much. I was starting to bail on it. No, don't get me wrong. I still really like the Red Dragon Thunderzord, but the Thunder Megazord and just the line overall, it's just, I started fading on it. Not losing respect, but just it wasn't as interesting as it used to be. I think I kind of seen through the glamour of having the DX version and just kind of looking at it, standing back over the last 2.5 decades and just viewing at it from the outside, or, well, let me rephrase that, looking at it over the course of 2.5 decades, wow, I am old, allowed me to gain some new perspective that started to override the nostalgia of, ooh, giant Transformer toy, oh, this stuff, all these are the goodies, So it kind of started overriding that. That being said, I saw the complete DVD set of Gosei Sentai Dairanger, which it was not a bad show. I don't remember it now. I saw it about half a year ago, so whatever. But it was not a bad show. I liked it. And it kind of renewed my interest in the Megazord, which is known as Daireno. So, okay, do I want to get the Legacy Thunder Megazord? Well, it's been over a year since it came out. The chances of me getting it now, pretty slim. So, would I get the Legacy Thunder Megazord now? There's no reason I couldn't. Well, other than availability, because they're not making it anymore. Actually, I've been pushing it kind of close. They're kind of reaching the point at the end of the line where these aren't made anymore either. So, I find it strange that these toys are marked for 15 and up. Why would they do that? Just because it has die-cast metal in it? It's not like Power Ranger toys didn't have die-cast metal in the past. I mean, the original Power Zords, they had the metal chain on them, so whatever. Premium die-cast parts and metallic paint. Metallic paint. I've also said it before, I wish that the movie exclusive versions, which I've already discussed, the difference between them, I wish that the movie versions, the movie releases, had set it up so that rather than the gold, the vacuum metallized plastic, you would have had the black on the frog, the blue on the wolf, the yellow on the bear, the red on the ape, and the pink, or red, depending on how you look at it, on the crane, and then as much of the white as you could get away with on here. If you'd had the Rangers colors in vacuum metallized plastic, like the action figures were, like the 5.5 inch figures, if they had carried that over into the deluxe versions, in my opinion, it would have matched a little closer what we saw in the movie. I mean, imagine the Falcon Ninjazord in nothing but chrome. Well, not nothing but, like, instead of white, it would have been, a pearl or a pearl chrome of some kind. That would have been neat. Now, not the gray, not that stuff, and not the detailing, the paint details and things like that. Just the plastic. So the pink, the decal, here, the yellow, and then all the black, and then the blue here, and the paint. It would have been difficult to paint this in chrome, so whatever. But I wish they'd done that for the movie releases. When I found out about the Legacy versions, I also wish they'd done it with the Legacy versions, but I mean, which are advertised as the movie, but unfortunately are based on the TV versions. Now, yes, I do enjoy the 95 movie. There's some cringeworthy stuff, but I still enjoy it. At the time, even I thought the Ninja Megazord, the CGI Ninja Megazord was kind of half and half. So when it came to a legacy version, did I want them to make the movie CGI version? No, I didn't, because Pink Ranger as leader makes no sense whatsoever. But it would have been nice if these had been marked, or if these had been, had the chrome releases. Now, yes, there is die-cast metal, but die-cast metal doesn't really make up for it. Now, there is some chrome on here. There's chrome here, here, here. I'm sure I'm missing one. There's chrome in a couple of places. Silver, chrome, fair enough. You want to make those die-cast metal, fair enough. But like I said, I want the yellow, the red, the black. Not the black on the bear necessarily, but definitely the black on the front. Those areas, I wanted chrome on that. That would have been sufficient. And by the way, how the CGI Megazord transformed was, well, I mean, to be fair, it hasn't aged very well. On the other hand, it was really, really neat seeing CGI Zords at the time, which had never happened before. So I won't complain about that. The instructions in there, I'm just going to leave them. Round 2, ding! In actual red for the Crane Ninja Zord, which is, to be fair, there wasn't any reason that they couldn't have changed that to pink. And it was subtle enough that, quite honestly, I didn't notice the difference at the time that it was pink on the toy versus red in the show. It was such a subtle detail that, honestly, I look at this and I'm like, okay, whatever, no complaints. The neck is a lot shorter. How it connects to the bear is also different. And the wings are PVC again, but they're not gray. They're white, which is nice. You watch Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger, and it's bizarre as a Power Ranger fan, former Power Ranger fan. I'm a Sentai snob these days, so actually I've been a Sentai snob since 2003, whatever. But it was not disconcerting, but it was jarring to see the Shogun Megazord appearing first in Kaku Ranger, and it's like, well, wait a minute, the Ninja Megazord was supposed to come first. Well, no, actually it didn't come first. Bandai, in their infinite wisdom, for whatever reason, they decided to reverse the footage. So they started with the Ninja Megazord, or they started with the Kakure Dai Shogun, probably because it wasn't as bulky as the Muteki Shogun, the Shogun Megazord. It wasn't as bulky. So, visually, it made more sense to have this version come out first. But when you're a Power Ranger fan and you see this difference, it's like, what? And then when you see Rito Rivolto for half a season acting completely different in the Japanese version, it's like, wow, it's amazing how many things they changed. So that was a bit jarring. I'm about approaching the halfway point of Choriki Sentai O-Ranger, Power Ranger Zeo. A nice chrome paint they put it. It's not just that they molded it in that kind of swirly fake what can I call it? It's the kind of plastic that toy manufacturers, not just Bandai, but sometimes they'll swirl in two slightly different dyes, and they'll try to make it look like marble rock or something like that. Well, Bandai did the same thing here. Bandai America did the same thing here, but then they painted the exterior. They painted the exposed surface silver. So that's nice. That's a nice thing. Ooh, I can feel the die-cast metal. Yay. Yes, have heard of the Soul of Chogokin Daijujin. Yes, I am planning to get the Soul of Chogokin Daijujin. $300 for, something that's 9 inches tall. Well, considering how long we Power Ranger fans have been bitching and moaning that, no SOC Super Sentai Robo has appeared yet, with the exception of the Battle Fever Robo. But really, that doesn't count. What we want is a transforming Super Robot, or Super Sentai. Huh. Very posable arms and legs. And it's a lot easier to get that tail out of there. Wow. You can get this guy into some poses. Yo! So you can actually have him crouch down. I can't remember how a dog's legs bend, or wolf's legs bend, so whatever. But the fact that it can do that is great. Was it something I missed on the original DX version? A little, but it's appreciated here. The one thing they could have done, and I see a separation point, but clearly it's not a... Oh! They have screw hole covers. Nice. They've got a plastic split down the waist, wrapped around the torso. I was hoping it would mean that there's a hidden elbow joint for Megazord mode. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened here. Perfect opportunity for a hidden elbow joint, and they missed it. And the jaw can still open up. Just this part here is in metal. Oh, the gold is also metal as well. Huh, it's too different. Is it spray painted on? I can't tell. Whatever. And the legs also, the lower legs also do fold backwards as well. So there's a little bit of posing options. Sweet. So you can also get them to go that direction as well. Nice. Okay. Not bad. Nice. I like the design of the tail. It's a little more dynamic. It's not this just kind of a sword blade thingy. It's actually got some nice curve to it. It's a little more scimitar-ish in the way it works. Or a dirk, I think is what they're called. Nice. It is a little strange to have these legacy Zords being smaller than the original versions. I'd say they're maybe 1/6 smaller, 1/5 smaller than the original DX version. But, oh, cool. I was wondering if there'd be a different way they could do these arms. It still transforms in the same way, but the difference is the shoulders are on ball and socket joints. Sweet. And it has wrist joints. Wow. No ratcheting though, which is fine. They're small enough. It's lightweight enough. I wouldn't expect it to be. But that's okay. Does the head turn? Darn it. That means no wrist articulation for the Megazord either. Boo. But there is one thing they absolutely fixed. The legs can split apart. Original version couldn't do that, which this is like Soul of Chogokin level when you can separate the legs. They're meant to stay together because there's a massive joint on the other side. That's cool. That's good. Oh, and by the way, now it can do the splits, which is great. Can it swing forward? No, it cannot. Okay. Still, ball and socket joints in the shoulders. Not much. It's possible to move them outwards, but not very much. I don't know. You're probably going to have to use the transformation joint to make the arms spread apart more than you are the actual ball and socket joint. It's small. Oh, the shoulder is PVC. Actually, the entire arm is PVC. Individual parts. Okay. Cool. I think they could have snuck an elbow joint, yeah, right, a knee joint in there. But you know, the fact that you can get the legs separated, that's a step up. And the arms, you know, in Power Rangers and in Kaku Ranger, I keep wanting to say O Ranger because I'm watching O Ranger right now, but I know that's totally wrong, so forgive me if it's... In Kaku Ranger, they don't show the, you know, what we saw in Power Rangers was the same that they had in Kaku Rangers. Kaku Ranger, you don't see the forearm, or you don't see the lower arm slide up over the bicep. You don't see that happen. So, changing how this transforms doesn't bother me because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that detailed in the original version. So seeing it this way doesn't bother me because it wasn't that specific. You know, you still see the effect where it's moving towards the camera and he's moving his arms around and stuff like that, but you don't actually see the arms fold up in any fashion like that. It just attaches and that's it. So seeing the arms transform in that way, I mean, you still have to open up the back. That's still the same, and they don't show that in the show. Whatever, they don't need to. But having them fold up, actually I have to turn the elbows outwards. Oh, it's actually it's a shoulder turn, it's not an elbow turn. So you actually turn the arms like that. I know it's fuzzy, pre-focusing and all that stuff. But that doesn't bother me. It doesn't. No, I'm just fine with that. I kind of wish the crest on the chest, the S. I'm trying to remember what did. Now that I think about it, I can't remember what the S meant in Kaku Ranger. They didn't really. I guess. Sarder or Saru for monkey. It was an ape in Power Rangers. I want to say it was a monkey, or the equivalent in the original show. So legs spread apart, but there's no forward or backward motion. That's surprising. Can't have it all, I guess. Which is fine. Which is fine. Which is fine. I kind of wish they'd try to get, even if it wasn't individual figures, I kind of wish that they'd been able to get some sort of a grip out of this hand. Or no, it's just the left hand. But I can live with that. Yeah. There's some die cast right there. I should also point out that for both the wolf and the ape, they eliminated the shoulder joint, or rather they inverted the shoulder joint. So rather than having the male joint section sticking out, it's now become a female joint section. Or combiner joint, I think. Which helps which really helps in the case of the ape Ninjazord. The claws are the die cast. But then they're painted over. Okay, so you can take this off. It's a lot easier to take this on and off. Oh, and they painted the inside of the mouth. Cool. It was always a question of, what is this thing? Well, I'm under the impression this is a scroll. I think that's what this is supposed to be. I can't remember what the Japanese wording is, but they use the scrolls. Was it the secret ninja scroll technique, whatever it is? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what this is supposed to be. You know, they never really explained it. Oh, gosh. Noticing this 25 years later, of course. I think that's exactly what it is. Wow. You know, you could never figure out what the horse bit, the thing was. Like, nobody knew what it was. It hung out underneath, and then you had to fight with it to take it off, and what is this for? What does it do? Why does it hang out under, sometimes it's under here and sometimes it's in the mouth? Well, what is it for? I don't know. I seriously don't know. But looking at it, hindsight being 2020, now it reminds me of the scrolls that they used for their transformation, which the scrolls were used only to summon the Kakurei Daishogun and the individual god generals. I can't think of what the names of the individuals are called. Huh. Another subtlety, another subtle difference between the transition from the Japanese context into American non-text, non-context, non-text. But I can confirm it's actually a lot easier. Excuse me, it's a lot easier to take this on and off, which is good, which is fine. I'm going to stick it in the mouth. Just leave it there because it's less of a hassle. Always has been, always will be. Shut up. It changes the same. Oh yeah, transformation's identical. Even the way you have to push in on the shoulders also slightly to get them out. Except when it doesn't work. There we go. Oh, no way. Does this have ankle? Oh my god, it has ankle joints. Or wrist joints. Cool! Ratcheting wrist joint. Cool. Well, that's something. Sweet. Does it turn the back? No, it does not. But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I think I'll put it underneath. Huh. The proportions, the torso's a little, just a little narrower. Just a little. You can tell by the how can I call it, the scruff of the neck on the bear. It's not quite as wide on the sides here. They trimmed it down a little bit. Okay, well it's designed to do that, but it's friction only, just like the original version. This, I can't tell if this is meant to stay under there or not. It fits so loosely, I can't tell if they actually want you to do that now. This, by the way, is how you store the fist on the toy, in case you were wondering. But it's so loose under there, I can't tell if they actually wanted you to do that or not. Don't care, like it. I've got the theme song to O-Ranger going through my head over and over as opposed to Cock Ranger's theme right now. Question. For the, what are they called? The Shout Factory subtitles. When the O-Rangers do their roll call, and also during the songs, Shout Factory has the subtitle Olay. I'm under the impression that that subtitle is actually misspelled. It should be O-Ray, because O-Ranger, O-Ray, as opposed to Olay, like the Spanish Olay. But on the other hand, I also know that Bandai, Plex, and Toei really like to play around with their English puns, or their Ingerish puns. So is it intentionally Olay, or was that a misspelling on the part of Shout Factory's part? Can somebody please tell me? I am confused about that. Ball joints in the shoulders. Yes! The feet, or I'm sorry, the hands are die-cast metal, but painted over. Nice. There's no elbow, though. But there is that one detail that the original very much didn't have. The mouth can open up. Yes! It kind of has a tongue in there, so whatever. No teeth, obviously. But the mouth can open up. That's good. That was actually something they could easily have done in the original one. Why they didn't, I don't know. I'll be honest, the frog was always kind of my favorite of the 5. Like the frog first, and then the crane was second favorite. So, but frog was my favorite. I felt bad for Adam. He's like, I'm a frog. And then it took Xena Warrior Princess to remind him, right, just like the one you kiss. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I'm so glad they got that mouth to open up. I'm so glad. It looks weird, and it actually doesn't. It doesn't fold the same way, but it doesn't fold the same way that it does in the show. But the fact that that Bandai America got that mouth in there, like, I won't complain. I will not complain. Just as hollow on the bottom, though. Oh, I'm looking forward to those Ninja Megazord legs. Ooh. But first things first. Let's change everybody right back into individual Zord mode, or limb mode. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I forgot something. Whoa, God! Which the original had as well, but they were molded in swirling gold. Gosh, it's so much easier to just unhook those transmission hinges. It's a ball joint, but it's a useless ball joint because you can't actually do anything with it. Goes with the little swords. Yay! Cannot complain about that. Do they stick to each other? It says, it looks like they do stick together, but, oh, cool. Something original couldn't do. You can attach the swords to the back for storage. Nice. That was the one thing you couldn't do with the original one, is it had the swords, and you usually got them lost. So that's good. You probably, you can put them there when it's combined, even though that's not canon. That's not the way it's supposed to work. But I can live with that. I'm glad they put that there. Now this is a case of fixing something that needed to be fixed, as opposed to adding it because it just added some flair to it. Like, for example, the transformation joint on the Legacy Dragonzord for the knees. You could see what they were going for, but it just came out wrong. It's another friction connection again. I feel like the head should be able to turn, but it doesn't. Huh. Unless I miss my guess, on this back knee joint here, there's a very subtle difference between clicking here and clicking here. Very subtle. And that's there, believe it or not, that's there so that the heel actually curves upwards a little bit more into the shoulder. It doesn't like, there's nothing on the paw here that'll snap into place, but it's more about streamlining the appearance of it, which is something that the original one had a bit of a problem with. Dust. You can see how the heel just kind of sticks out. The other thing I should point out is that this was a decal right here, but there was a bunch of blue around the outside here, the blue armor, and then the leg was kind of pocketed underneath it, as opposed to this version where the shoulders are completely exposed, and that's actually painted rather than being a decal. So they re-engineered how this is shaped. I like that. I like they put that effort forward. That's good. That's good. I still don't like there isn't an elbow joint in here, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. I was always wary of how this goes together. I could never quite figure out how... It always like attached right underneath the chin on the original version. I was never certain if I liked that or not. Looks the same. Still no wrist articulation. That's okay. It's a small detail, but they put a little wrist joint in there. That's nice. And the claws are die-cast metal. That's nice. Also has the same spring-out shoulders. You let go and it pops out. Come on. I still like that. So I'm glad they kept that. It makes sense, you know, that way you don't have to try and pull it out. Is it just me, or are these too small to be Zord builder joints? Wouldn't that be ironic? The whole point of the Legacy Megazord, which is behind the camera, is that it's supposed to be compatible with the Zord builder system. It has the same hex joints on them, or I guess they'd be octo joints, whatever. Wouldn't it be a... Excuse me. Ah yes, the disadvantage of still living with your parents at age 34 and a half. God, I'm almost 35. 6 months I'll be 35 years old. It's not the living with my parents part that bothers me. That actually doesn't bother me. And they've redone the neck joint a little bit. Previously it just attached two little tabs on the side, but now there's a new one that pops up behind the head, or behind the face. It pops up as you flip it around. Which means that chin paint is going to get scratched up a lot. I still like the head design. I still like this. The thing that everybody really likes is the fact that they painted the engine intakes, I guess what they are, because these aren't machines, they're something else. But they've painted the engine intakes and these little laser blast areas. They painted those in on this version, so that's nice. There was absolutely nothing on that version. They've also painted these vents up here as opposed to putting a decal on them. Oh, by the way, no decals anywhere on here, which is good. And here comes my favorite part. Ankle joints. Yes. Oh, we needed those so badly. Hip joints that aren't stuck outwards like this. You can actually ratchet the joints in and out. We needed that as well. Now there was one problem. There's one issue. I'm going to say it now. This was the second case, not the original MMPR Season 1 Megazord, but this was the second instance where, for the DX size version, the deluxe version, where you had a knee joint in the right place, you've got an ankle joint in the right place, you've got a hip joint in the right place. And they are indeed used as part of the transformation, but this was one of many occasions where you couldn't get it to bend in the right direction at the right time. You couldn't get this out unless you opened up the leg here, unless you opened up the frog's leg. So this was a missed opportunity. It's not that putting the frog's leg on the front there was a bad idea. It did look kind of nice. But as a matter of fact, the movie version, the little forelimbs, the forelegs actually fold in underneath the chin. They disappear completely, leaving this area open. Yeah, it would have been difficult to do that in 95 with the DX version, but this was one of those occasions where we had joints in all the right places, but unfortunately something got in the way. I'm hoping that this one solves the problem. I mean, the fact that the legs can can actually ratchet in and out like that, and it's got ratcheting angle joints to the sides. That's a good sign. That's really good. It actually kind of lives up to its name of Ninja Megazord. Boy, those ball joints on the shoulders are going to wear out so fast. Oops. So the question becomes, kind of. It kind of does it. It does it better because you can actually, let's see, can you? Okay, it looks like you have to bend the knee first and then bend this forward, which you cannot do on that version. Or can you? Couldn't do that in the original version. I'm glad they fixed that. That is something I'm willing to pay over $100 for. This was $50, $55, which was normal at the time, which was just fine, by the way. $55 for your basic Megazord, no problem with that. Wish it had had elbow joints, and wish it could have bent a little more, but not bad for what we got at the time. Really wasn't. Is that in focus? I don't know. But this, oh man, this is great. I love it. I love it. Yes. This is worth a little more than $55. Not because of the die cast, not because it doesn't have any decals. All the decal areas have been painted on, which they could have been. Oh, but I just noticed. The lightning bolts that nobody liked, the N, whatever, but the lightning bolts are gone. Yes! Which, honestly, that was not much of a detractor. That was really the only, let me think. Yeah, I think that was the only decal in the whole thing, other than changing red to pink. And up here, it was red up here on the top, but it was pink on the tail. Other than changing the pink, and changing these, those were the only differences between the Kakude Dai Shogun and the Ninja Megazord. I almost said Shogun. And the Ninja Megazord. Those were the only differences between them. Otherwise they were identical. So, I mean, and you got these big red bars, red stripes. Stripes. You've got these big red stripes here, which is all well and good. It is kind of boring though. So, that... Seriously? I think I was talking about the legs and how much I enjoyed them. Something like that. Digging for gold. Nothing. Someday I'll strike it rich. So yeah, superposable legs are superposable. Well, they're not superposable, but unless they outright removed, they're ball joints, I should be able to remove, well, no, I'm not going to mess with that. Unless they made it possible to regularly add and remove the legs, the frog's front legs. That was creepy. I just heard a ghost. A ghost from 6 years ago. My cats have been gone for 6 years. That was creepy. Yeah, unless they could get rid of the frog's forelimbs, I don't see how the legs could have been posed, or if they moved them into a different position. I mean, the fact that you can get this leg to 45 degrees, that's pretty damn amazing. And sometimes that's enough. To like scratch that itch. So I won't complain too loudly. Yay. Gosh, if only there was an easy way to take this thing off. Even 25 years later, when they try to redo it, it's still difficult to take it in and out, put it back in. Didn't I say earlier I was going to leave it under the chin? I don't remember now. Okay. Oh, cool, cool. I forgot about this. For the Ninja Mega-Falconzord, the head can look upwards. Swick! Swick? Sweet? Sick? Swick? Sick! I totally forgot about that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's the kind of modification I like. And this is the Legacy Ninja Megazord. God damn it. I love it. It's great. Wow. Bleh. I kind of wish they'd had a tongue that was painted in there, or a little ramp that you could pull out. That would have been funny. But then I suppose the fandom would have started making open your zipper and dick sticking out of your pants jokes, so that might have actually been a good thing, considering the age range is 15 years plus, which is kind of strange for this one. I guess toy makers are under the impression that this is not something you should have available to little kids on a transforming, combining toy. I guess, you know, they think the kids are allergic to that or something like that. Whatever. Wow, that looks great. I love it. And it's actually not as short as I thought it was. Maybe I thought I said 1/6. This might actually not be that bad. Might be more like 7/8 maybe, because the top of this, let's see. Yeah, the very top of the head comes to the bottom of the white section on the head here, or the top of the white section here. So it's not even an inch in difference. So it's like 12 inches, 11.5 inches thereabouts. Can't complain about that either. That's just fine. And then there's these things, which, oh look, you still can't stick them in. Oh, I know, let's stick them in the mouth. Oh, there's your tongue, right there. Bleh. Spitting daggers from its crotch. Not even in Transformers G1 could they have come up with that. Nice tight ratchet. Yes. And then the thing that everybody's been complaining about, which, to be fair, not on mine, but that was something that a lot of people came across with, is those back leg joints, the hindquarters on the bear. The joints did tend to get loose over time, and unfortunately it's become, I mean, this is fresh out of the box, MISB, and it's already doing it for me. I mean, I tried to move the leg, or I tried to move the arm, and it does once in a while. That is kind of a common complaint, but that's I imagine that's more of a quality control and less of an engineering problem. So, I mean, the fact that they didn't catch it before mass production began, that could be an issue, but this might be attributed to quality control already in production issue, and they just didn't catch it before it left the factory. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I have not heard everybody complaining that every single one of these does that. And it's entirely possible the one on the left does it well. Speaking of the left arm, the right arm, if I can do this correctly, that's the reason why you can actually spread the hips to the side on the 8 Ninjazord, is because they gave us a goddamn collapsible elbow joint, which is something I've been wanting for 25 years. Goddamn. Hello? Yes. Now, granted, the way they got to it is strange, because it's actually the hip joint is sliding in and out of the torso. It's weird, but look. I will take it. I will take it. You know, I wonder if it would have been beneficial to have the have the thighs on the Ninja Sword. I wonder if it would have been beneficial to have those be die cast, so that when you're pushing up on this, it doesn't start cracking the thighs, because the thighs are currently made just of plastic. I wonder if it would have been beneficial to put some die cast in there instead, to give it some stability and prevent the layers from cracking on each other. Other than the bear's left hip joint, you know, not locking into place properly, damn, no complaints. Wow. None of this happening still. This is still an issue, but quit your whining. We've been doing that for 25 years. Or however long it's been. Yeah, it's been 25 years, because this came out in 95. Everybody asked when they announced the Falconzord, and here's the weird thing, the Falconzord came out before the Ninja Megazord did, even though technically it's an accessory Zord. The one thing that everybody wanted to know is, would this have lights and sound in it? It's bad enough as it is that the Dragon Zord didn't have lights and sound in it. The Legacy White Tiger Zord also didn't have lights and sounds. Legacy Serpentera. Oh, that would be awesome. I've already got Serpentera, so whatever. But it didn't come with the electronics. Wait, Serpentera came with electronics? Serpentera originally came, well, no, not, Daijin Ryu. The Japanese version, Daijin Ryu, came with electronics. The little crystal on the chest right about here, that would light up, and you can very obviously see where the battery pack on the lower back was. So, yeah, it was supposed to have lights and sound in it. Is that right? Yeah. And then kind of down here, you can see where the speaker would have been sitting down here on the lower belly somewhere. Yeah, Daijin Ryu was supposed to have electronics. So the question was, is the Legacy Falcons are going to have electronics? Because there was a reason why these were transparent. And yes, this was a battery pack in here, which somehow the battery pack survived, but the electronics were removed. And you wondered why it is that there was these odd little slots right there. Well, it was so that the electric cord could slip in through there and it wouldn't get hindered. I think they could have re-engineered that, or they could have engineered that a little differently back in the day, but whatever. So the question was, will the Legacy Falcon Ninja Zord have electronics? And the answer is, shake my head. I figured I'd better hurry up and get this thing while I can. I hope they do a Legacy Zeo Megazord. It's been kind of a weird scenario, us old school Power Ranger fans. We have the original deluxe Megazords, and I've been collecting, well, on and off for 25, almost 26 years. And it's been an issue of, I already have the original, do I really want to invest in the newer version? And once I do invest in the newer version, what do I do with the previous one? It's a strange dilemma that we're having to go through. Oh! I didn't know the wigs came in separate parts. I thought it was all together. Oh, cool. You can see between the barrels. I didn't know that was the case. I don't think even Cocker Ranger they had that on the filling model. Unfortunately, we didn't get the electronics. To be fair, the DX Tsubasa Maru, the Japanese version of this, the electronics were annoying as hell to listen to. So they weren't nearly as elaborate as what we have today. Try to imagine the original Deluxe Dragon Zord. Remember that beeping sound it made when you turned it on? It was basically that, except that you just push this button and makes one version, you push this button and makes a different version of the exact same thing. So, annoying sound, but the fact that it was electronic and we didn't get it was frustrating. Ah, the talons have the die-cast metal, which is exactly what we want. Anybody here watching Q Ranger? What do you think of it? Everybody thought that Lucky was annoying. I find Commander Xiao, well, whatever the Dragon Commander guy's name is, whatever his name is, he's the annoying one for me. He's not quite Genta from Shinkenger. He's definitely not Guy from, what's it called, Gokaiger. He's not that, but he's still annoying. He's not lucky with his catchphrase, but he's still just... Yes, we were disappointed that we didn't get the electronics in the Falcon Megazord, but on the other hand... Okay, that's what that is. But on the other hand, it gave us the option for a poseability option that we didn't have with this. We can fold the wings up and down. We can bend them mid-wing. So many ratchets. Whoa! We actually had the ability to do, or we didn't. The original version was just straight, because, you know, they had to pack the electronics in there. That's a terrible angle. I will try it again. You had to pack the electronics in there, so you couldn't have them bend like that. Which, at the time, did not bother me. It bothered me that it did in the show, but we didn't get it in the toy. Like, that bothered me, but did it bother me that the toy didn't have it? Not necessarily, no. So much ratchet. Whoa. That's a very light ratchet in the head. Although I do like the way the divots in the neck, which is on both sides, the divots look like feathers. So, okay, that's a good touch. That's a nice touch. Mouth can still open 45 degrees. Or, no, actually that's 90 degrees. Okay. And the glorious talons with their... Oh! There's two different joints. Nice. It actually has thumb and fingers for the talons. Sweet. The original version, it was just the ankle joint and the thumb. Or, you know, this talon. But this one's actually different. It's two different joints. Oh, and then there's an independent ankle joint. It's a swivel with friction only, so eventually this thing's going to start tipping over. But then, on the other hand, you're not going to be displaying it like this. You're going to want to attach it. So don't worry about it too much. Although it is die-cast metal, so it might very well hold its own position. Don't worry about it too much. So there's a little bit of wiggle here. For whatever reason, it goes all the way up. I never understood why it did that. Even the Japanese version did that too. I don't know why. It served no purpose to do that, so... I don't know. Flipping Master Vile the Bird. Sorry. Okay, Bandai America. Let me double check. The original version only tilted that much. Fair enough. That's fine. But it's specifically designed to do that. This has two little ridges on the top here, so it's designed to only go that far. Bandai, if that's the case, why can it do this? If you put those two little ridges on there, why didn't you design it so that it couldn't go beyond that? Because basically if you do this, it means you can pop the tail off. If you want the tail to pop off, that's all well and good, but why would you engineer it so it would go all the way up? Just care to explain that? I don't get that. You put the little ridges there, so you intentionally want us to stop there. You intentionally don't want us to go any higher than that. Explain that one to me. Panel on this back is regular metal. So it looks like the only die cast is in the... Yeah, only die cast is in the feet, which is fine. Which is fine. Whoops. That's an issue. That's definitely an issue. You want us to pull it out, but then you give us the ability to pull it out in case too much pressure is applied. Well, why didn't you engineer it so that, oh, I don't know, this doesn't come off, period? In other words, be careful when you pull that out. You can't just use both hands like this. You're actually going to have to be careful. So be aware of that. And again, it's about 7/8 scale, roughly. Not bad. Not bad. The only question remaining is how they're going to get this to connect to this. Because you had a pair of tabs right along the breast. You actually had 4 tabs. You'd stick it into the back of that, and it was a nice solid stick. So let's see how they do it now, considering there's no tabs whatsoever back there. And we have kind of sort of gimpy leg on this. I kind of wish that this combination had been a little more involved, like if the kind of a Time Shadow Megazord or Shadow Force Megazord thing where the cockpit of the Time Shadow goes up and over the head and forms a chest. I kind of wish it had done the same thing here, kind of. At the time, not so much, but hindsight being 20/20, I kind of wish they'd been a little more involved than just slapping on the back and that was it. Just a little something. But this is harmless. This is fun. I'm going to address it now, because I don't want to take this thing apart again once I get it on. For those of you wondering if there will be a legacy Shogun Megazord, as of the recording of this video, there is no word on whether there will be a legacy Shogun Megazord, but there is hope. Because you've got a clip on the back there, and you've got a clip there, and you've got a hidden clip right there. Those don't get used on here. The only reason those get used is when you attach it to the Shogun Megazord. So expect to see one. Officially, we haven't heard anything, but the fact that they put it there means they're planning on it. When it's going to happen, who can say? You know, now that I think about it, I kind of hope they do a legacy Ninjor. That'd be nice. Just because, you know, you go on eBay, you can go to eBay anywhere. If you ever try to look for a second-hand deluxe Ninjor, what's the one thing that's always missing? The sword, right? You can have the scabbard, but it never comes with, like, you may or may not get the scabbard, and it may or may not attach to his back, whatever, but you never, ever get the sword. And if you do, it's chewed up by a dog or chewed up by a kid, or it's snapped apart, or, you know, something awful, but you never get. I dare you to, in 2017, I dare you to go to eBay or to wherever you want to and find a second-hand, it doesn't even have to come in the box, but just a second-hand Ninjor, fully functional, that also comes with the complete scabbard and a complete sword. The whole thing. I dare you. I'm not saying they don't exist, I'm just saying it's incredibly rare to see. In my 34.5 years on this model plane, I have not encountered one yet. It simply doesn't happen. Here comes the part that a lot of people complain about. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oops. Ooh, that is weak. That is weak. Wow, that's bad. Look at this. Look at this shit. All it is a pair of tabs. There's one on the inner side of either foot. That's all it is. It's just a little tab, and that's it. I think what they tried to do is they tried to set up so it would fly in and attach. Oops, and I totally did that wrong. Because, you know, in the show, when it's in the air, it'll fly behind it, you slide along it, and I think that's what they tried to do, but I also think they tried to do the Legacy Mega-Falconzord's knee differently, so compacted down a little better, so it had a better shape to it, so that those giant foot pads would actually, the knee guards would actually stick out a little further. I think they tried to do that and failed miserably, because they couldn't engineer it correctly because Bandai America. And I think they did pretty much the same thing here. They tried to get it so that you could have your Ninja Megazord, you know, jump into the air and then have the Falcon Ninja Zord come up behind it and pop, there it is. and they kind of screwed it up. Well, not kind of nothing, they did. That, coupled with the fact that this is an issue, that's an issue. That's a big issue. If they put a little tab on the back right here at the joint so it sticks out, and then you would have had it attached like the belly somewhere. Not a magnet. A magnet would actually be worse than this. I've encountered that before, so don't say magnet. But if there had been a tab, an additional third tab that actually sticks in there, because there's no way this is locking in place. I don't see how, or is there? It's trying. Oh! Okay, I was wondering what that was. Okay, so there's a hexagon here. No, is it hex? Yeah, there's a hexagon right here. And there's a hexagon on the back. Does that come out or anything? I think they tried to do it so that one would kind of slip into the other. I think that's what they tried to do. Yeah, that's what they tried to do. But it's just not having it. It's doing nothing for it. So, nice try, but it turned out badly. Or nice idea, nice try. They tried to get a little bit of the TV show into this. And in this particular case, they kind of slipped and tripped right at the finish line. It's kind of a thing. And then, oh, by the way, there's that whole thing too with this, which a lot of people are complaining about this. So when you take that with the fact that this doesn't hang on here very well, yeah, you can see where the problem is. When the Shogun Megazord finally shows up, you won't have to worry. I don't think you'll have to worry about that attachment issue. But that being said, oh man, this burns. This burns a bit. But, you know, at least the head can tilt backwards. Cool. And the head can tilt backwards. You do have to splay the crane's wings apart just a little bit to get it past the. You have to get it past the neck. So whatever, no big deal. But damn, that's great. I think the only thing that's bad here in this whole two-part thing is how the Falconzord combines. And what was the other thing? That this is a quality control thing, so I won't. But just how this combines might very well be the only thing that I have any legitimate gripes about. Like I said, this is quality control, whatever. Some are good, some are not. I've just heard a lot of people complain about it. But wow. Wow. They fixed things that needed fixing, and they improved on things that could use some improvement. They got right to the edge. Ouch. Color me impressed. I'm looking forward to that Shogun Megazord. The only question that remains is, they took the time, energy, and effort to make this red. The question is, will we end up with another pink Shogun Zord, or will we get a legitimate white Shogun Zord? That's the only question on anybody's mind. That, and also, will it still have those lightning bolts on the shoulders? Are we going to get the fish? You know, it'd be nice if we had the fish. Maybe if we had some the sword blades, could we swap it out so there's like a flame effect version? It's like semi-transparent. You swap that out, or just give us two different swords so you can dual wield the Shogun Flame Sword or whatever it was called. I don't know. That'd be cool. Could they have put a waist joint in there? Maybe. Maybe they could have put a waist joint in there, but one or the other would have had a massive peg sticking out of it. And I think the way they handled this was kind of good enough. Could they have had the head swivel side to side? Considering the fact that the head looks up and down, makes up for it. So I'm not gonna hold the fact that this can tilt up and down. That compensates for the fact that you can't turn the head side to side. That compensates. So, okay. Should the shoulders have been able to go out to the side? Considering the amount of effort it took to get this one elbow to bend, and the fact that they didn't get it over, well, probably the wolf legs, the way the legs overlap with each other, probably made it difficult. I think if they could have made the legs fold away a little more Voltron-ish, they might have been able to get a posable elbow in there. So yeah, this was, I want to say the Megazord itself was 100, and the Falconzord was, originally you were looking at about 80. MSRP at the time, this was about $80. This is well over $100. This is like 120, 130 right here. I think I paid just over MSRP for this, but I don't really regret it. Because like I said, there's some stuff in here they improved, and there's some things that they fixed, and there's some things that they added. I love that has a mouth right there. That's still great. And they added poseability where previously it wasn't available. Good deal. Wrist joints could have, but I'm not going to complain too loudly about that. Honestly, I'd say having functional elbows is better than having functional wrists. And really, wrists are a function of, do you have a weapon that you can hang on to, you can turn it side to side, you know? So if the fact that the Ninja Megazord doesn't have the fists, the hands never open up ever in the show. It's always a fist and a chopping hand. I'm not going to complain that there isn't a turning wrist, because really you wouldn't have gotten anything out of it. Elbows that do this, no, don't really need it. I think I could nitpick the rest of this, but yeah, I mean, what we get here is pretty darn adequate. It's pretty good. It's definitely an improvement. It's slightly shorter, but it's so marginal. That's not even an inch difference between the two. So don't worry about it. This is 12 inches. This is like 11 or 11 and a half. You know, it's so marginal. I call it worth it. Connection between the two, not so much, but I call it worth it. And so with that, this is AV Unit 48 saying thanks for tuning in.